Hello and happy Valentine's Day to all. I am the
When is
Omega
Valentine's?
Condor. This is Seabass. That's Bilth, and that is JT Barney. And this is another episode of the Audio Program Council podcast.
When is Valentine's Day?
The 14th of this month.
The 14th.
Okay. Good info to know. How's everyone doing? How are we all doing?
Doing well. We have a couple of interesting topics of discussion on the docket for today.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to tell everyone.
This is gonna be rough for me.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm kind of excited just to tell everyone that we have done some technical changes behind the scenes that's helping us maneuver this podcast a lot better. Not gonna go into specifics, but I kind of want to should we give our new person
Editor?
that's involved, our new editor involved in
We
APC
should.
a shout out right now?
100%.
And that is
100%.
Miss Samantha, which is the Omega Condor's girlfriend. But yeah, we're really happy to have her on the team. So woo!
Yep.
Go Sam.
Woot, woot.
Whenever
Thank
you
you,
watch
Sam.
this,
If you're-
we
when
appreciate
you're
you so
watching
much.
this, we
When you're
appreciate
watching
you.
this,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you.
Happy
And,
Valentine's Day.
And I think we can all agree is going to be a great addition to our team.
Absolutely. She's going to help.
Behind the
Completely.
scenes.
Yeah.
She's
Things
gonna
are
help
already 100% better.
She's gonna keep our shit in line.
Yeah. She absolutely is.
That means you, Bill.
Uh-huh. My days are
Condor
numbered,
will get a
fellas.
double.
It's the knife that cuts deepest.
So, on this very special episode, this very special holiday episode of the Audio Program Council, we have our top 5 rom-coms, individual ranked lists of our top 5 rom-coms. So,
Like Barney, I've got to admit I have a very, very limited knowledge of this, so I'm very much in a particular I only grew up on 90s rom-coms are the only rom-coms I know.
yeah,
So
this is a bit of this is another pop culture blind spot that I have are rom-coms, because I did watch rom-coms as a kid, but I'm not sure how well I understood them or comprehended them. And a lot of the rom-coms that I know are Christmas movies as well. So
it's also
Do you
going
watch
to
the
be
Hallmark Channel?
yeah, you know what? That's probably it. I did watch a lot of Hallmark Channel, but I watched it mostly because my dad would watch MASH.
I think it's going to be interesting to
MASH is
see
so good.
if we pick or if our rom-com picks, some of our picks will be subjective. I'm interested to see if some of the picks we pick, will we consider them as rom-coms or not? Because I definitely have one on my list that could be made an argument for. But I will allow you guys to dissect that when I say mine.
Well,
But I personally think is a rom-com.
without further ado, Bilth, would you like to get us started?
Sure, Condor. Let's start. All right, so my number 5 favorite ever rom-com is 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, great movie.
I
Great movie.
love this movie. I think it's just a good movie, but also a rom-com. Okay, but also it's number 5. It would have been number 1. There is a time not too long ago that it would have been number 1.
Who
But
hurt you?
as I get older, the more I'm like, I'm not sure I
Do you know
100% relate to this anymore.
Do you know what rom-com I feel when I think about that scenario you're talking about? Love Actually.
Oh yeah, you were like super into it for a while, and then you were like,
Yeah, the older I get and the more I rewatch that movie, I realize that it is not as good as it portrays to be.
It does not reward rewatches.
I did not include it in my list, but
Neither
if
did
you
I.
would have asked me 3 or 4 years ago, I might have.
yeah. I mean, Love Actually is powerful. It's so sentimental that sometimes you just can't help but
Yeah,
cheer,
no.
you know. But 500 Days of Summer, it's stylish. The way it's directed is so slick. And Mark Webb, the director, he went on to do the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Appropriate, given his last name.
Which is why the romance plots of those movies are much better than the actual superheroing plots.
Oh, My
I
God,
mean,
I was
completely,
so
but
scared you
also
were gonna say it
because
was bad.
those movies are very pretty, and 500 Days of Summer is a very pretty movie, and like he just there is a cinematic quality to 500 Days of Summer that you don't get often with a lot of rom-coms, and I think that the thing that I still carry with it, even though sometimes I feel like I've like kind of outgrown viewing the story as like this very true, very like real thing, because it's a little bit of a nice guy type movie.
It is very much the nice guy fantasizing constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that like Summer's perspective not being a part of it is like very intentional, but at the same time, yeah, on rewatches it's a little bit like it. I guess it just doesn't hit as it did at one point.
I
So
will
would you say it's nostalgia, kind of for you?
So the thing that still has value to me is the fact that it is so cinematic, and that a lot of the sequences, like the one that hasn't aged even a day, is the expectation versus reality scene, where half of the frame is dedicated to what he expected, like reuniting with this person after a long time would be like, versus what it ends up being. And they're playing out directly next to each other, and there's all of these like really good contrasting shots, and it just captures what's going on real perfect. Just real perfect.
I will say too about that movie, it's that I've noticed. I've seen it a couple times. It's a very rewatchable film, in my opinion.
I've
to
seen
me-
it maybe
to me-
at least 30 times.
To me, it's a very rewatchable film, and I like that sometimes about films. I like that quality. I like being able
me
to
too.
rewatch films. Yeah.
I think I've
Me
seen
too,
it
and
twice.
it's got that rom-com lightness, but it's also a dramedy, but it's also it's got a lot to it, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a really good lead, honestly, and him and
great.
Zooey Deschanel have such good chemistry in that movie. They started a band afterwards, like they have good chemistry. You can feel it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's
She
called
also,
Him
I
and Her.
think, doesn't have her famous bangs there yet, does she?
Not yet, or they
Kinda
didn't
like
start a
a-
band, but they did like some music together for like a
Right.
year.
It was kind of like seeing her in that, what's that Christmas movie she's in with Will Ferrell that I just watched?
Elf.
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 It's like seeing her in Elf without the bangs is weird.
Wait, does she? I thought she did have bangs in 500
doesn't
Days
have
of Summer.
bangs.
No, she doesn't have the bangs in Elf. It's
Oh.
weird.
No, an
very
elf.
strange.
No,
Oh, okay.
Elf.
In Elf.
Well, I'm not sure where. Okay. Point is, 500 Days of Summer, absolutely incredible rom com that's also cinematic. But also no, not absolutely incredible. Wait, scratch that. What the fuck? 500 Days of Summer has not aged the absolute best in my eyes, but at the same time, I enjoy watching it. And
Honestly, half of
I'll
these
always
rom-com
have a spot for
movies
it.
have not aged well. Half of
Oh,
the
no.
rom-com movies have not aged well.
I was going through the list. I was
Yeah.
gonna pick a Jack Nicholson movie. I was like,
Honestly, the one that I have as my number one is probably one of the most problematic ones, but whatever.
isn't that
It's
funny that the
nostalgic.
entire genre
mean-
can kind of be seen that way, and that's why there's
Yeah.
not a lot of them made right now?
If you look at all the rom-com movies really quickly before I say mine, like the themes of like half of them is home wrecking. Like every relationship is home wrecked in these rom-coms.
I like Woody Allen movies, and that's every Woody Allen movie ever
Yep.
is infidelity.
But then they shoot it in a way where you feel bad, you're sentimental towards the person that's home wrecking. And that's like every Julia Roberts rom-com 90s film, basically. Anyways, my number 5. Oh, am I going next? I'm going to go
your
next.
turn.
My number 5 is, I don't know if this is a rom-com to me, I think, but my number 5 is Coming to America. I love that.
that is a rom com.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
a
a
rom-com
rom-com.
with fish. It's a fish out of water with
It's a fish out of water movie,
Yep,
but it
with
has
rom-com
romantic elements.
Yeah.
I love.
He goes there looking for a bride.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what my kind of thinking was behind it.
is
I
her
think
role
it's-
large enough?
Yes.
Yeah.
At least in
yeah.
the second half. In the second half of the film, until he gets to America, her
I
role
mean,
gets big.
I mean, like his finding a wife is the whole.
It's the whole premise of
crux
the
of the
film.
movie,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. It's finding the queen. But like,
I
the
mean, I
person
know.
that he
I
really
just
wants
feel
to
like
love-
the character doesn't have a lot of screen time for it to qualify as a rom com. Would be my only complaint about.
Yeah, and it's a rare choice for me because I'm not usually a big on comedy, as we do know. But it's one of the few comedic films out there that I really, really enjoy. And I think there's so much culture in that film. There's a lot of culture. It's funny. The romance is really good.
It's got
Eddie-
James Earl Jones.
It's got James. It's got
as the
Daddy
king
Vader.
of Zamunda.
Yeah, it's got Daddy Vader. It's got even the guy that plays. It's got the fake McDowell's. Oh, great, fantastic.
Fat Sal's every year for Halloween dresses
They
up
actually,
as McDowell's.
fun fact, they have a McDowell's in New York City because of that movie. There's a McDowell's out there based on that film. You can go if you ever go to New York. I don't know if you knew this, Bill.
Never been.
Oh, well.
But
been
he
the
didn't say
Bubba
he
Gump
didn't
friend.
know it.
That's my number 5. I don't know if you guys like this film or not, but I love this film. I think it's great.
I like it. I
do.
it didn't cross my mind as a rom-com.
It didn't
but-
either until I thought about it, and I was like, wait, this is a rom-com.
This is why we do this.
Yep.
Is to broaden each other's horizons. That's what we tell each other to keep each other from arguing all the time.
Yeah.
Right, I'm good.
All right, Condor, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
You go. You go.
Oh, you're such a gentleman. All right, so my 5th is Groundhog Day.
Oh, great movie.
Oh,
I love this movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got Bill Murray. I think the director did a fantastic job when they shot this movie. They did all of the like sort of cathartic scenes toward the beginning of the shoot because the director had such a familiarity with Bill Murray that he knew he would be such an ass by the end of the film shoot. All of the curmudgeon scenes toward the beginning would be hilarious, and they are. This movie is fantastically shot. It still holds up to this day. It's constantly gets me laughing.
I
Still.
have heard one complaint from this film that's a consistent complaint from people is
What's that?
It feels like sometimes that film can drag a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, there can be a lot less of the hijinksy stuff. Like when if you guys don't know the story about Groundhog Day, the guy has to live the entire day over and over again. So a lot of that stuff could probably get cut down, I guess. But I enjoy it for the most part.
I'm not one of those, by the way. I like the film. I don't think it drags, but I have heard that a pretty consistent complaint for that film by different people.
I like
Okay,
Groundhog
this is
Day.
why we
It's
do
really
this.
good.
I agree. I like it as well. I don't see
Pretty
that
solid
complaint.
choice for a number 5.
I think it's a
Cool.
great choice. I could have even had it at a number 4, to be honest, if I would have thought of it.
My number 5 is number 5 because it is objectively a bad film. But I just it's so nostalgic for me. My number 5 is Fool's Gold
It's a great
with
movie.
Matthew McConaughey.
Wait, with Matthew McConaughey and
Yeah.
Kate Hudson?
I think that's a great movie.
It's not a great movie.
It's all right. It's
is
not.
just-
It
it's
is
like-
popcorn movie.
It's that era of Matthew McConaughey where he was basically taking as much work
Yep.
as he could. Fool's Gold, same year I think as
Sahara.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
like they were like a year apart, I think. But
Yeah.
it was that era of McConaughey.
Back when he was
It's
just
the
like
adventure.
a pretty
It's
boy in a
it's
film.
before the car commercial McConaughey.
Yeah, exactly.
before Lincoln.
Pre-Oscar.
Pre-Lincoln.
It's before the Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-Oscar. That's the kind of pre-Oscar McConaughey that I enjoy.
It's pre-Dallas Buys Club.
That's when he didn't give
Yeah.
a shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
She was
dude.
like,
Yeah.
"Yep,
Ghost of
gonna pay my
Girlfriend's
rent.
Past.
All right."
Ghost of Girlfriend's Past. Wow.
Oh
that's
Lord.
that's another
Failure
really
to
good-
launch.
Failure.
Oh,
How to Lose a Guy
I
in
watched
10
that whole
Days.
thing by accident in the theater when I was way too young.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is such a good movie.
Yeah. Didn't make my rom-com list. I did. Fool's Gold edged it out by just that much.
Fair.
All right. So, Bilf,
Number 4.
Number 4.
number 4.
For me, number 4 is There's Something About Mary
Oh, great movie.
with Cameron Diaz
Solid
and
choice.
Matt Dillon and Ben Stiller.
It's a great movie.
This movie, so
And
like,
Brett
is that the-
Favre.
is that the one where
before the whole charity allegation thing?
Wow.
before when he was still a Packer and not
When
a
he
Viking
was still
traitor.
like, yeah, I enjoy when he used to play. Now it's like, he did used to play for us. We did win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was my childhood hero, honestly. So that was like the cherry on top is seeing Brett Favre at the end. And it's like SNL Monty Python levels, but it's like in the middle or the beginning of this like romantic comedy. And then I have a soft spot for the end of that movie when they take all of the locations and all the groups of characters and they start singing that one song together at the end. So as the credits are rolling, they're all singing like
It's
that
not
one song.
All Star, is it?
No, it's like, why do you build me up,
Yep.
Buttercup baby?
Buttercup, babe.
Yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
No more.
And they're just every single like section of the movie, like the prisoners during the prison scene are like in a line like singing the song. It's just it's a nice heartwarming
It's a very
movie.
storybook ending.
Yeah, exactly. And it's literally it's got that storybook aesthetic because it starts with the dudes with the guitar and everything and it ends with the dude in the guitar getting shot in the chest and then the music number starts. It's just
Very 90s.
weird, it's wacky, and I got a soft spot in my heart for it.
My number 4 is Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is my number 4.
Which version?
I love that. Oh, the Keira Knightley version.
He is British.
Yep.
Matthew McFadyen, Keira
Matthew
Knightley. that is the-
McFadyen.
Okay, I can go on for hours about that character, but let me just start off with Keira Knightley. That is probably one of the first times I watched Keira Knightley and I fell in love.
And that was
Mr.
that was an
Darcy.
awakening for you.
That was an awakening for me. Who didn't fall in love with Keira Knightley during that movie? Because I did.
I did
But
2 years
was-
earlier in Pirates of the Caribbean.
I mean,
Curse
me
of the
too.
Black
Of
Pearl.
course, Elizabeth Swann, I did, but like, I saw her in that movie and I was
Wait.
like, my God, you're such a gentle soul, and I just want to hug you. That's what I think about. That's how I thought about Keira Knightley. But Matthew McFadyen, I love the character in the film. I know some people don't, but I just like how they went a different way in the rom-com where we find the stoic, conflicted character, and I like those types of characters a lot. I think they're very interesting. And yeah, that's mainly why I love that movie because of the performance. I do think the film could be a tad shorter. That's like my only complaint about that movie ever is that it can drag a little
It
bit.
feels like you're reading a book.
Yes, it definitely feels like you're reading the book, and I think it explains things way too hard. It can definitely be cut down, but Pride and Prejudice, Matthew McFadyen, Keira Knightley just absolutely slam it and make me believe in true love. When he finally lets go and opens up to her and stops being such a brooding, stoic, conflicted, fix me type of lad.
Ah,
Or, you know, the type of lad that's conflicted that, like, wants to be fixed. You know? Yeah.
you do have a soft spot for those dark and broody, mystique types.
I mean, Zuko, Kylo Ren,
I know,
Matthew
it's a
McFadyen.
problem.
It's a
You
problem.
have a problem with the bad boys.
It's a red flag. I love bad
Watch
boys. Lauren,
Right.
if you watch this episode, watch it.
She comes
Isn't
dressed
Laura
in a
the
leather
one that has
jacket.
that whole theory that
Cigarette in
everyone
her
wants
ear.
to be broody because of Batman?
Not smoking, Lauren. not
Yes,
smoking.
that she hates Batman because of the sole reason that every guy she says feels like they can relate to Batman, and she's like, no guy can relate to Batman. Unless you've seen your parents shot in front of you and you've gone through terror like that, why are you even trying to relate to Batman in any way? And it really frustrates her when guys try to be that, like, stoic, like, oh, don't look at me, I'm fucked up inside.
My title number 4 is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Cool.
It's a very good film.
I
like it
that,
a lot.
I have that film in my honorable mentions, just saying.
Well, are we going through honorable mentions right now?
I put 3 honorable mentions down that I'm going to mention later.
No, you get that down to 1 honorable mention.
No,
Right,
it has to be
One
3.
honor. Only one has the honor.
I mean, I'm not even going to explain them. I'm just going to read them.
How dare you? All right, 10 things I had about you. Heath
Craig.
Ledger, fantastic. Love
Speaking
this
of
whole-
Batman,
Speaking of JGL, and a good film. Not to say that 500 Days of Summer is not good. I mean, that's your whole viewpoint. But anyway, I think it was one of the keystone rom-coms from the 90s. It's got one of the most iconic scenes of Heath Ledger in the stadium doing his little dance number. I mean, it's fantastic. Every time I think about that movie, I think about that scene.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
the scene where God help me, I keep forgetting this actress's name. But Kate, she's doing her last monologue, heartfelt monologue of the film, and I hate you. It's good. It's good.
It's great.
oh,
It's the only way I'll accept love is through a guise of hate. All right, what
Well-
you got for me, Condor?
My number 4 is another bad movie
Nostalgia though, nostalgia.
Nostalgia. It's
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Huh?
Oh,
That's that's kind of like a newer one.
That's
That
that
is a newer
one-ish.
one.
That's from the 2010s.
2014,
Yeah,
2012,
I would
2014.
It's
I
no,
would-
it's from
I would-
2010 or 2009.
I mean, but I would consider that, like, in terms of rom-com, in the era of rom-coms, that would probably be considered one of the newer ones.
It's late 2000s, early
Yeah.
2010s. It's
it's
like
over
right
10
on the
years
cusp.
old.
It is over 10
No,
years
but
old.
but it's in that, like, it was like the beginning of the era, almost when the rom-com era started fizzling out a little bit, I think.
We aren't getting enough interest in just one couple. We need to spread it out over like 6 different stories.
Well,
That way,
basically,
everybody can just
they-
attach to one different mini movie.
They attempted to do what Love Actually did during Christmas,
Yes.
but they attempted to do it during Valentine's Day.
That's the movie with Helen Mirren, right? Helen Mirren's in that?
Probably she was in
Valentine's
most
Day?
of them. This is a franchise. It's not. There was
New Year's Day,
Eve. There
or
was
New
like
Year's Eve.
yeah. There
I've
there
never
were
seen
like
Which
New
is
Year's
the
Eve.
one
Three of
with...
these movies.
am I thinking about the right one?
This is the one that had Ashton Kutcher, Jessica Alba, George
That's right.
Lopez.
That's right.
it
It
immortalized
Will.i.am.
both Taylor Lautner and Taylor Swift because
Yeah.
they're a couple in this movie and they were a couple in real life at the time, so it's a time capsule.
Ah.
Yeah, this was, I believe, right after Twilight New Moon came out.
Wow, it's very specific. I also feel like if you do a rom-com movie, you're 100% gonna fall in love with your co-star. That's the only way I think to accurately portray rom-coms.
Lauren, never let him take a rom-com
You
role.
must fall in love with your co-star in some
Never.
capacity. In some capacity, in my opinion.
Number 3. So I'm going to preface this with streaming. So we're talking about these rom-coms that are all kind of old, and we were surprised that Valentine's Day got mentioned because it's from the 2010s. This came out in 2021, and it was a streaming movie. So it was only on streaming, and it was an Amazon Prime movie of all things. And
thank
the
God.
thing I don't like about the streaming landscape is that you get everything there. You get the Hallmark quality movies, but you also get the movies like Valentine's Day that would have had a theatrical release in like 2010, but now they're just going to be put on a streaming service. And one of those movies that was a diamond in the rough for me was called I Want You Back. That came out in 2021, starring Charlie Day and Jenny Slate. Ringing the
I'm
I'm
bell.
gonna have to. I'm
I've
gonna have
never
to.
heard
I mean,
watch
I know
this.
those actors, but I don't know the movie.
I know. I
No,
know
I don't know
Charlie.
the film either.
Right. So I'm not surprised it got buried because it was released with no theatrical run, just like dumped onto Amazon Prime Video.
Right.
But it's really sweet. It's super cute, and it's like that. It's got that kind of cliche but well executed type vibe. So it's about like these friends that each break up with their significant other, but then they like connect and they're like, oh, will you like pretend to not know my ex and then like make it so that we can
I
get
remember
back
seeing
together?
trailers about this. I remember seeing trailers.
Yeah.
They end up falling in love with each other.
I
I'm
would like to
guessing.
watch this.
Okay, I'm telling you, Seabass, this movie is worth it. This is
I would
a
like to watch
very cute, like 90-minute light movie. Jenny Slate is one of America's hidden national treasures. And she's got a scene in this movie
I agree.
where she's got to fill in for like a high school musical production of a Little Shop of Horrors. And she's got to play Audrey real quick. And dude, I never hear anyone talk about it, but that scene is so sweet and one of the most underrated like comedy set pieces from like any movie in the past few years. So yeah, that's my number 3. I really like that one. I feel it was incredibly underrated, and it's a victim of rom-coms no longer being taken as seriously in Hollywood as they used to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of them are just either buried, like you said, or they're just released straight to digital now.
Right,
I
but
barely-
that doesn't
I
mean that there's
barely
not still
see-
good ones.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's what I just barely see any theatrically released rom-coms these days, or you don't
Exactly.
really. Yeah. But also, theaters are all packed now with it's all fantasy and sci-fi for like. That's really,
Who's got the fantasy sci-fi rom-com? Who's got it?
I
mean,
have Star Wars
Titanic
and New
is
Hope. I'm just
technically
kidding.
Oh fuck off.
Titanic is the blockbuster of rom-coms.
No.
The Anakin and Padme relationship, you cannot deny.
Are you going episode 2
just-
then? Are you going episode 2?
I just imagine, like, in The Empire Strikes Back, and then Luke and Leia kiss, and then the Curb Your Enthusiasm music starts playing. Luke kisses his sister.
Oh my god.
Alright, so my number 3 is an era of movies that I really enjoyed growing up. This is very nostalgic, but I also think it's a very cute movie. But I had an affinity for Steve Martin movies back in the day. I love.
Is it Father of the Bride?
It's Father of the Bride.
Woo!
My number 3 is Father of the Bride. I love both of them. They're both really good. I just think Father of the Bride is a little bit better than the second one. But it's just pure nostalgia. Back then, Steve Martin did those rom-coms so well. They're funny. Like, he's so funny. And it's just such a wholesome movie. I love the movie. It's written amazingly. The soundtrack is really good. And, like, Diane Keaton is amazing. Like, the cast is so good. And
It's
plus,
good.
the iconic pairing with Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Martin Short.
Yeah, like them two, put them two in any scene together, and I'm entertained for hours. And Martin Short plays a hilarious role in those films. He plays, I don't know if you've seen it, but he plays the wedding planner.
Have I seen it?
And my God, it's hilarious. He plays this like very extreme French wedding planner. That I just watch it. It's such a rewatchable film for me, and it's a film that I have on my list with Lauren to show her. She's really interested in what she's never seen it. And I'm gonna show it to her. Yeah. So I'm really, really excited. I think it's just like that movie is kind of the epitome of 90s movies for me that I grew up watching.
Do you know they remade that movie?
Yeah, but come on, it's not. I'm sure it's not as good. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's different.
Yeah. But yeah, Father of the Bride is my number 3. I love that movie.
How dare you remind me that they straight up remade that movie like last year? How could they have done this? It's too recent. It's too recent.
All right, so I cheated a little bit on my number 3.
Titanic?
So
That
my
counts.
number three. What the?
Titanic does not count as
No!
a romantic comedy.
What's funny when they hit the iceberg?
I think it's funny when they're.
Look what happens to the rich elites.
Yeah, that's the funniest part is when
Yeah.
everyone starts drowning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's funny
so-
when Leo can't fit on the wooden piece of plank.
And he's just like that's
We just all fade to black. We just.
All right, Barney.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. That's how we're
So
how we're signing off, by the way. We have to all do that at the same time when we sign off.
What?
Just. And then we have to be yelling, Jack, come back.
What?
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Leave us.
Justin's gonna tell us his number 3 Sister Act 2. Back
And how does it break the rules, Barney?
I hate you. My number 3 I wrote down as the season of Sandler. So I couldn't decide, so it changes depending on like the
Seasonally?
time of season it is. It's 50 First Dates, Click, and
Click is a terrible movie.
Mr. Deeds. Mr. Deeds.
Click is the worst one.
Click is a
Click is the
terrible
worst one
movie.
out of
Hey,
three that you
I
just
don't
listed.
control how I feel.
50 First Dates.
love
50 First Dates
Click.
is goated though.
I have
50
such
First
a
Dates is
solid
goated.
I
Click.
couldn't decide which one to put here since it changes.
It's the best
throughout
Adam
the summer.
Sandler rom-com that he
Do
ever
But-
yourself a favor
uh,
and choose 50 First Dates.
Yeah, I agree.
Have you seen Mr. Deeds lately? It's
No.
awesome.
But I've seen Click, and that's not good.
Yes, it
They're
is.
essentially they boil down to almost not at all the same movie. But
Click
Sandler's in all of
attempted to
them.
do a multiverse film before anyone understood how to do multiversal films. That was
Click was
Click.
incredible.
No.
I
Click,
think
Click had a
all of
valuable
those-
moral.
Thank you.
Adam
Thank you.
Sandler has come out and said that that's one of his worst movies.
It is one of
he's
his
ever-
worst
he's
movies.
ever done.
But it's,
I'm not saying
I still enjoy
dude,
it.
It's got a great moral. Like the way that movie starts as an Adam Sandler movie that's secretly actually about something is really interesting.
Is it made by his production? Is it Gilmore? Happy
Yeah,
Gilmore?
Happy
production?
Gilmore.
Yeah.
Is it?
100%.
That
And I
movie.
love what he has done. He gets to act with his friends when whatever he wants to do. No one tells him shit. Good job, Sandman.
50
You have
First
to
Dates,
entertain me
though.
thoroughly.
50 First Dates, though, is such a good movie.
My
Such a good
headcanon for
movie.
this
Yeah.
episode is that you just said 50 First Dates.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna run with that as well.
I mean, it's less
Actually,
cheating if you just say that.
it is what I initially wrote down on my list. So you guys.
I
probably
also
are.
think.
he
I
tried to
also
get
think.
fancy
Hot
with it.
take. Hot take. I think that's actually one of Drew Barrymore's best roles I've ever seen her in. To be honest,
Wedding Singer
that's a good one too.
or E.T.
She was 10. Well, how old was she? About
She's
9?
pretty good though. She's pretty good. in
She
that,
did a
though.
pretty good scream.
She was 6.
Pretty
I
good. It's
think.
pretty
Even younger,
pretty
yeah. She
good.
might have been just even younger than that, yeah. I need to-
My number 3 is and this is a little weird. I've actually only seen this movie once, but it for some reason it's stuck in my mind. Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, great movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Absolutely a
I-
rom com.
It's got,
Absolutely
like,
a rom com.
It's a great, like, in terms of the romantic comedy elements, it's great, and then it's got that heart that really brings it all together. Like, it's really also like those Eastern values apply to my family.
For sure, you relate to it.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
like, yeah, relatable.
Do you know what I also think is quite interesting is that you're picking specifically for you. You're picking movies that are like newer, which is cool. I like that.
Like
interesting.
I said,
Interesting.
One of my pop cultural blind spots. I mean, actually, which is funny that you say that because my number 1 is a '90s one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
But
but-
still,
but-
like overall, I think you've been picking newer movies than us, which I think is cool. So you're showing love to.
I mean,
to
it's
the newer
like I
projects.
said, it's a cultural blind spot of mine is rom-coms. I don't watch them. Like, I don't go out of my way to watch them, but when I do, I end up liking them. Mm-hmm. Like my number
Crazy
2,
Rich Asians. That was like 2021, 22.
that was 20.
That was like super recent,
it
right?
was really recent. It was like 4 years
Yeah.
ago, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about around 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
Or through three.
Nice.
That movie got nominated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
for a few
sure it
things.
did.
Yeah.
But I think it was like
Yeah.
closer to 2018.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah, it
been
was
that
like a little
long.
bit ago.
Crazy Rich Asians? Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Time is
anyway,
going by so fast.
Yeah, 2018. Crazy Rich Asians.
all right, Bill's number 2.
Already? All right, number 2 for me. Speaking of Oscars, this movie won Best Picture. And it's Annie Hall. I have a
okay.
weakness for the. Okay, so like 500 Days of Summer and Annie Hall are two very. It's like the male point of view rom-coms. And I understand how this looks and sounds, but yeah, I don't know, man. Just I can live in these movies. They're very relatable. They're very comfy, and Annie Hall in particular, it's aged better for me in terms of being a rom-com. Funny considering who
I don't have
stars
an
and
issue with
wrote
it.
and directed it. But yeah, this is the Woody Allen movie basically. There's a lot about like love and connection and neuroses in here. There's a lot with Diane Keaton, and oh my god, Diane Keaton's really charismatic in this movie, and the way that her character is written and the flow of the scenes just like it does a good job of kind of like making you fall in love with her at the same time as the character.
There's something about Diane
Which is
Keaton being
definitely
in a
why she won the
rom-com.
Oscar.
There's something about Diane Keaton in a rom-com that's so good.
Oh, exactly, man. I mean, she
Yeah.
basically invents, like Annie Hall basically invents like the mold for the rom-com. And the character of Annie Hall like is a huge. She becomes an archetype for like every rom-com love interest going forward. And that's a testament to how freaking just one of a kind Diane Keaton is here. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much more to say about it. I just rewatch it really often. It's a very cozy movie for me, and it's a very romantic movie for me. That one shot where the sun's coming up and they're looking at the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's all in silhouette. You can just see New York and the bridge
Yeah.
extending out, and they're on that bench. Oh wait, that's
I've
Manhattan.
only seen
What
it
the fuck?
once.
Oh, that's the wrong movie. That's totally Manhattan. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's Annie Hall. Wait, is it?
Is
no,
it?
am
Do
I
you know
conflating
the
them?
city? He supposed lived in New York. I don't know. He says he did. Can we
No,
believe
there's
him?
two.
I
It's
don't know.
it's two separate movies
I mean,
about
he-
New York,
he
but
didn't
one is
know
called
McDowell's.
Manhattan and one is called Annie Hall.
Sounds
um,
like a fake fan.
No, the shot that I was talking about is actually from the movie Manhattan. But then again, you put all of Adam Sandler's rom-coms together, so I can put all of Woody Allen's late 70s rom-coms together.
The clapback.
No, I'm serious. Diane Keaton is also in Manhattan, and he also falls in love with her in Manhattan. But in Manhattan, he's also dating a 17-year-old, which she's in high school, and the movie ends with like her confessing her love and everything. Like, oh my God. Woody Allen is interesting, but his those late 70s romantic comedies are just, damn. This is a weird. You're right. The rom-com genre has not aged gracefully, and it feels kind of weird to talk about some of them.
You have to put on the rose-colored glasses a little bit.
I'm telling you right now that my number one is very problematic. It's very problematic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, man. So Manhattan, by the way, I like Manhattan almost as much as Annie Hall. They really are interchangeable for me. Ergo, I can't even remember where that shot's from. But they're just romantic. They're shot well, and they're just a vibe, man. You watch them, you feel good, you feel cozy, you feel in love with New York, and you feel in love with the characters that are like in the movie.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of the vibe for all of us. I think is that we're picking films that made us feel nostalgic, cozy, like anything that made us feel at ease and at comfort. Since we're not like I think I can speak for all four of us. Maybe not Justin. Maybe Justin's been a little more in this subject, but we're not as versatile with these rom-coms because it is our blind spots, most of us. So I think we latch onto projects that are more cozy and, you know, kind of relatable and nostalgic. So I get you both there, for sure.
I mean, I really like romantic movies, but I definitely don't watch a lot of
I just think our knowledge base is not as high as we are with maybe every other genre.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if there was some sort of authority on rom-coms, they would probably not put a lot of our picks into the Hall of Fame.
My number two is can be a very disputed one, but I'm going to chuck it in there because I love the film so much. But my number two rom-com is Amelie.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Who's in it?
It's a French actor. I actually do not know her name, to be honest.
Okay.
But it's actually not just one of my favorite rom-com movies. It's actually one of my favorite movies of all time. Have you ever seen it, Kondo?
No. I've not seen it.
Did
Oh my
it come out
gosh.
like 2001?
2001 or something. You'll miss it. It's a masterpiece. And it's actually taught in a lot of film schools as well. This film is like a film school film that people teach.
It's one of the film bro movies.
It's one of the film. Yeah. It's one of the. It's like that one, like Run Lola Run. What's the black and white one?
The Apartment.
No, the silent movie in black and white.
Oh, City Lights.
No,
with Charlie Chaplin and the blonde flyer girl?
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu is not a romantic comedy.
No, I know. I'm just saying films that are taught in film school. Film school films.
They teach City Lights in every film school.
Oh, I guess, yeah. But
Talking about the
anyways.
Charlie Chaplin rom-com?
Okay, anyways, in terms of Amelie, I just think that the soundtrack is just amazing. Like, everyone knows that tune from that film. I even play it on the piano a lot, but it's played everywhere. If you played it, you would instantly recognize it. The whole theme. I just love the fact that the movie just is very simple in the fact that she's in love with, like, every little thing. Like, she enjoys the finer things in life. And then she literally, like, is love at first sight when she meets that one guy. So I don't know. I just think it's a once again, very well done film, and I love the theming. I know a lot of people have a problem with the green thing. I don't. I think it's quite cool. I think it's a stylistic approach to a film.
Yeah.
It's a very stylistic approach to a film that's, you know, people don't do stuff like that usually in films. So I appreciate the risk and the imagination, the creativity that went into that film. That's why it's one of my favorite films ever. But I have Amelie in my number two.
For my number two, it's a more recent pick. It's like in the mid 2010s, maybe like 2015.
Ooh, a
16.
new one. Ooh.
My pick for number two is About Time.
Oh,
Lauren is gonna be so happy to hear this. You don't even know.
Movie.
You don't even
I
know.
love the cast. I love the storyline. It's been done a bajillion times. Is the ability to time travel to see what you could
But in a
change about the
rom-com,
past.
I felt like that was so unique
It
in a
was-
rom-com.
It was excellently told with excellent cast members to tell the story. I mean,
Honestly,
Bill
they-
Nighy,
Yeah,
Mr.
honestly,
Gleason himself.
they did time traveling better than a lot of these movies do it. To be quite honest.
I mean, they didn't overcomplicate the fact. They were like, all right, go to a dark place. You could do it. Just do it.
yeah.
There are some
Oh,
consequences we'll go over later.
I've seen that one clip on TikTok of this. I haven't actually seen the movie. I've seen the one clip where Bill Nighy is explaining to his son,
Yeah.
like, this is how you
Yeah.
time travel.
Yeah,
And you just do it.
I think it's great how just simply the fact of him it's squeezing his hands. What is it that he does to do it?
Yes, like
It's like
basically constipate
squinting
yourself.
just like this. Yeah, I think that's just fantastic.
And I love the
Yeah.
father-son relationship. It's probably one of
God,
the.
Not-
It kills me every time.
it killed. Yeah, I cried. I cried at the end. I was
Every
sobbing.
time.
I was sobbing. I had just recently watched this film for the first time like a month ago. Lauren showed it to me, and I did not know Donald Gleason was that type of actor. I was very, very impressed. And we get to see a very young Margot Robbie. A Margot Robbie that has not started in Hollywood yet. I think she's like fresh off her Australian soap actor opera career or whatever.
Fantastic job.
But she's amazing in it. And she's in the film for like 10 minutes, but she's amazing.
Rachel McAdams, good.
Rachel McAdams is I fell in love with her in that film. I was like, my God, you are everything.
I mean, it's like her second time travel movie, but this one, she really got it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic film.
I've never seen this movie. It sounds good though.
Give it
You
a
should
watch.
watch it. Give it a watch. Lauren will be the first to tell you to give it a watch as well.
Okay.
So.
Well, then moving on to my number 2, I have another 2010s movie, early 2010s. Now, but in my opinion, of all of the movies who had, big stellar casts of like A-list actors and like people like box office draws, this movie did it the best, in my opinion. And that movie is Crazy Stupid Love.
Great movie.
With Steve Carell, Julianne Moore, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, bunch
It's
of
a
other
great
people.
movie. It's a
Yeah.
great movie.
I've seen
Yeah.
clips. I haven't seen the whole thing.
Really?
great.
Okay. Highly recommend. It is a fantastic film.
I agree. I
basically-
agree wholeheartedly with you.
Basically, Steve Carell and Julianne Moore are getting a divorce, and Steve Carell hires Ryan Gosling to help him like learn how to be a womanizer and like get back in the dating game. And at the same time, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone meet, and they're starting to date. Emma Stone is Steve Carell and Julianne Moore's daughter, so he's hired the guy that's helping him get back in the dating game, who is also beginning to date his daughter, and then he's like, wait, you two are dating? And he doesn't approve of it. Anyway, he doesn't approve of it because like, this guy is a player and he's lying to you. And he's like, no, but this girl I actually like. And he's like, yeah, well, I actually like my wife. And then there's a whole like teenage subplot because they have a younger son who's in love with his babysitter or whatever. Hijinks ensue. It's a really good movie. I do not do it justice in my Cliff Notes version.
Sounds kind of like Hitch.
Oh, I almost put Hitch in my list, by the way.
I forgot about Hitch,
I was
honestly.
this close to putting Hitch in my list. This close. I love that movie, by the
movie's
way.
so
I do like Hitch, but
It's in my honorable mentions, by the
for
way.
some reason, Will Smith has been wiped from my memory.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I
One
mean...
one slap erased him.
We should talk about this one day, but to see his meteoric rise and his like Titanic of a fall has been very interesting to observe.
I mean, what do they say in the stock trade?
He like
stairs up, elevator down.
5 years ago, he was like one of the most beloved actors of all time, and then he just turned into a psycho. I don't know what happened to him. But
Well, he accepted the role of Deadshot, and then it was basically downhill from there.
Yep.
He married his wife.
It was
Dang.
the one where what?
Not the Jada slander. The
It's not
Jada
slander.
Pinkett
Sorry,
Smith.
Will. Don't come into my
She
home
has
and slap me.
alopecia. She
Yeah,
has
good-
alopecia.
Okay, cool. Good for her.
Keep her
Okay,
name
I'm
out
sorry?
of your mouth. combo.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you
Leave
notice
her
how
damn name.
I'm the only one who didn't say her name.
What?
I
didn't
said
say
he
her name.
married his wife. You
Said
guys
she
said
alopecia.
yeah. Okay, cool, awesome. That's really sad. I guess.
You don't talk to her like that.
Crazy Stupid Love is like if love actually connected at the end.
Yeah. Yes. See, that's what I'm saying. Of all the movies that try doing what that movie does, that movie does it the best.
That
Yeah,
one
I
scene
agree,
is so
actually.
satisfying.
It's like the only rom-com that deals with a big cast that I think it actually worked.
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it was able to keep its story linear and cohesive, as
Yes.
opposed to kind of
Correct.
Because the issue with these other movies like Valentine's Day and Love Actually is that each couple is kind of not really a part of the other couple's lives. It's
Yeah.
all kind of just vignettes that have been layered on top of each other.
Yeah,
That
the
was
only
like
time that they
was like
connect is when
there's
they're
like
in the
there's
airport.
like an there's like an era in and itself of those type of rom-coms where it's like the vignette era of rom-coms where they shove in like 10 actors and plot away like 10 different storylines for them to do.
Yeah,
I'm
each-
really shocked that none of you have Princess Bride in your list.
Oh,
I
buddy.
was
buddy.
fully
hey,
expecting.
Hey, why don't you
lot-
shut up and let us get through the rest of the list? Huh?
I,
my God.
I was so
Spoilers.
on that point. I was really tempted, but I don't see Princess Bride as romantic comedy.
It is a romantic comedy.
It is a romantic comedy.
I don't know. Well, we'll get
It's
to it.
too
We'll get to
much
it.
for dudes to be a romantic comedy. It's like so for dudes. It's not even funny.
All
Number
right,
one,
we
Princess
need to
Bride.
hurry up. Do we do the wait? Hold up. Do we do the honorable mentions before the number one?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, but
just
just
read
do them in the
Just
same
list them.
thing.
Just
Yeah.
list them, yeah.
Yeah.
List them, Bill.
I mean, in terms of honorable mention for me, Trojan War with Jennifer Love Hewitt is
a good movie.
one of
It's a
the
good movie.
funniest things I've ever seen, even though
I've
it
not seen
sucks.
it.
It's the
Okay.
movie you posted in our group today. It's the movie
Yeah.
you posted in our group. The movie
It's
about
called-
the condoms.
Okay, so like it's the cliche story of like a guy's best girlfriend and him are like they're
Like, no
friends,
strings
but they
attached.
not dating. And then one day he's gonna like sleep with the hottest girl in school, but there's one problem: he doesn't have a condom. So he's gotta
Yeah.
get a condom, and who's gonna help him? His super hot best friend Jennifer Love Hewitt. And maybe by the end he'll realize that Jennifer Love Hewitt is really the girl of his dreams, and that's what happens. And it sucks. And
And
I
then they
love
have
it.
unprotected sex.
Without a Trojan. Yes.
Yeah.
And then she gets pregnant. The end. But no, yeah,
Alright.
that movie so cheesy. 1998 or something.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Watch it if you hate yourself and love rom-com.
Well, my
And what's
my
wait, wait. Just go right into your number one after the honorable mention. Just,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, fellas. My number one rom-com is. Wait, what did I even write down?
Oh my
It's gonna
God.
be it's gonna be City Lights.
My number one is the movie Moonstruck with Cher
Oh,
and Nicolas
yeah.
Cage.
Good movie.
Written
It's a good movie.
by John Patrick Shanley. And it is one of the.
It reads like a John Patrick Shanley.
You know, I'm sorry, but getting tangenty here. I have a thing about Crazy Stupid Love that connects to that personally. This is weird. When I worked at Sony, I ended up like getting this prop that was like a Nintendo DSi, and I looked in the pictures one time to see what the previous owner had done with it, because it was like in the prop department, so they were probably a prop person. And it turned out that all of the pictures on that DSi were of the set of Crazy Stupid Love when they were filming that scene with the babysitter who is in love with Steve Carell's character, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And is it the scene where she's taking the nudes to give to him?
Oh my God, no, not that scene. It's a
Okay,
scene where
thank
she's
God.
watching his son because
Oh,
his
okay.
son is in love with her.
Right.
But
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it was a scene of that, and one of the pictures was the actress posing, and I remembered what her name was, so I like Googled it, and then I was like, oh my God, that's the movie Crazy Stupid Love, and I was able to like figure out where this prop was originally.
Wait, so
and
was
it
it
was
the-
the set of that movie?
Was it the DSI that the son was holding in the movie scene, or was just somebody walked on set with their DSI and started taking
And I'm gonna
photos?
just do this.
No, it had
Take
to
this
have been
picture?
like it had to have been a DSI from the film. I'm
Okay,
assuming.
that's funny. So it might have been the DSI he's using in that
Yeah,
scene.
because,
then.
especially if it's in the prop department.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that he used the DSI in that movie.
I
Is
don't-
it blue?
I don't know for sure. I haven't seen the movie in a few years now, so I don't even know if he had a DSI. But if it's in the prop department, I'm assuming the kid. It makes most sense. Comments tell us it makes the most sense for this kid to have a DSI, especially during the time that the movie was coming out, because that was the peak of the DSI's lifespan. So, and having that as a movie prop dates the movie to that year, which would be the peak of the DSI's lights.
Not the
lifespan.
not the prop team forgetting to clear and wipe that DSI.
Why would
could
they
have
need
been
to
Don't
anything
throw
wipe
them
it?
on
under the
that.
bus like this.
There could have been anything on that DSI.
That's what I'm saying. There could have been some vulnerable stuff in that DSI.
Oh,
All right.
I have some.
Oh God.
It's crazy too that they just let you wander around the prop department at Sony. Hell yeah! I mean that's great, but unless you snuck in there and you weren't supposed to. But
Yeah, don't out
No,
yourself.
you know what's crazy? I was actually cleared, but it's only because it was a project that was ending after 12 years of occupying one soundstage.
my honorable mentions is 10 Things I Hate About You. I have Notting Hill. I have When Harry Met Sally, which I think just shot Meg Ryan's career into the stratosphere. I think is one of the most iconic, probably rom-coms of all time. And I have Hitch as well, because that movie's just great. I love that movie. It's also one of the very few projects that I've seen Eva Mendes in, and I haven't really seen too much of Eva Mendes anywhere else besides that, and maybe Ghost Rider
What about
and
the
Desperate
Pines?
Housewives and Desperate Housewives
Or
and
the
that's
other
it.
guys?
No.
The other guys too. You haven't seen the other
and
guys?
No, and I've seen the movie with her and Joaquin Phoenix, which was
no,
really good.
No. It makes sense that he hasn't seen the other guys because he doesn't.
Oh, he
like
hates
Will
comedy.
Ferrell.
He
do-
hates.
He doesn't
hates,
like Will
he hates
Ferrell.
comedy.
The film that she did with Joaquin Phoenix is really good. I just forget what that movie's called, but she did a film with Joaquin, and that movie was really good. I don't remember.
What is the film she met her husband Ryan Gosling? The film they did together.
Oh, I forget what that's called. Like A Place Beyond the Pines, I think.
Place Beyond the Pines. Thank you, Michael.
Wait,
All right, well-
Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes are married?
Yeah.
And have
yeah.
kids.
Oh yeah, and have kids.
Why
oh,
did?
yeah.
Why is this news to me? Where have I been?
Under a rock.
I think he actually talked about it in an interview. I think Eva Mendes stepped back away from acting a little bit to actually become more of a mother. Yeah, and she kind of let him keep going with it, but she
she
took
just
a
kind of
step
let
back.
him be
Yeah.
Ken.
Yeah, and he actually thanked in his Oscar speech, is in his Golden Globe speech actually, where he was like, I want to thank first my wife, who's at first being a mother at home and allowing me to be here and do my thing. You know, he thanked her a lot. That's really cool of her to do.
Yeah.
Okay, my number one is it's a problematic film, I understand, but this is definitely the film to me that was played the most when I was growing up as a kid. My mum loves this film. It's her favorite. It's her favorite movie of all time. So this was running in my family's television like 24/7. I just watched it indirectly, and it's stuck in my brain forever because I've seen it so many times. But mine's My Best Friend's Wedding. My number one. Insanely problematic film because she is just a homewrecker, like crazy homewrecking those relationships, and we're meant to sympathize with her.
All's fair in
Which
love
is
and war,
just-
baby.
Which is even more problematic that we're trying to sympathize with her as a theme of the film,
That's not
which is
problematic,
crazy.
Nice.
That's funny.
It's funny, but also in my mind as well, why it's a good number one, because I love, what's his name? Dermot Mulroney. Dermot Mulroney. I love him.
Is he McDreamy?
No. He's
I'm
He's the guy
unfamiliar
from-
with this
he's-
film.
he's in Shameless as well. He plays
Yeah.
Fiona's, like the restaurant owner in Shameless.
Oh,
what
the
else
old
is
guy.
good?
Jamie is another
Yeah, the old
actor.
guy. The old guy. He's also in Friends. I don't know if you've watched Friends. He's in Friends as well. But anyways, yeah. Why I think this is my number one as well is that I think you really can't put rom-com, 90s rom-com, and iconic, and you can't not mention Julia Roberts' name. Like, that woman was rom-com in the 90s. She was like the epitome of rom-com. Like, Pretty Woman. I actually didn't put Pretty Woman on this list because I don't think it's as good of it. Yeah, I do. I think the soundtrack makes the movie better than it is. Without that soundtrack, that movie would be dog shit, I'm sure.
I want to watch it backwards.
You mean where he takes a high class lady and turns her into a...
Yeah, basically like they get together and then it's all downhill from there.
Jeez. But yeah, I just think for me it's My Best Friend's Wedding just because of the sheer amount of times that I've seen it, because it's just playing on my television.
Nice.
Yeah.
By the way, I never talked about Moonstruck. I like Moonstruck because my whole thing with rom-coms is two actors, like you're saying, Sebastian. Julia Roberts is just she's such a good presence during that period.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this era of Nick Cage and this era of Cher, like, being together, their powers just like burn this movie up, dude. It just takes the movie, elevates it, and it's already good because the screenplay is by one of the best playwrights that we have. And it's just such a good homespun Italian story where it's also kind of about infidelity because it's like, you know, she's supposed to be marrying Nick Cage's brother, but then, Nick Cage, he's all animalistic. There's something about him. She's attracted to him. She can't shake it.
Is this Danny in the Deep Blue Sea?
Is it Danny in the Deep Blue Sea? No, but not too long after that play came out. So kind of. But yeah, man, just a great story, and those performances are just perfect, and they capture those two performers in such a perfect like point in time. Yeah, I love it. I revisit it a lot. It's a very, again, cozy, warm. I like New York romantic comedies. New York is romantic to me. But yeah, just a very nice New York love story.
Wait, who doesn't think that New York is not romantic?
Condor.
Really?
No, New York is romantic. It's just depressing.
Is romance.
I'll agree to that. I'll agree to all those statements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just saying New York is depressing. That's all.
Honorable
Understood.
mentions number 1, Bonnie.
Okay. So, since I didn't hear it mentioned, I'm going to throw in 40-Year-Old Virgin and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind for my honorable mentions.
I feel like 40-Year-Old Virgin, though, is more comedy than romance. Though.
There's romance in that comedy.
I know, but it's definitely more heavy comedy.
That's why it's an honorable mention.
Yeah. I get it.
All right, but my number 1, it's Princess Bride.
Oh, I knew it. I was shocked that no one had mentioned that movie yet, because
it deserves the top spot, or near the top.
Doug
that
would
is
agree.
expertly written from.
Doug would agree.
Princess Bride has always kind of been more like fantasy, like
it's a fantasy,
hero's journey kind of
romance
tale.
And comedy.
I mean, you could say the same for Enchanted. That's like a fantasy, but I think.
I was also gonna put Stardust, but it's essentially the same thing.
I mean, I guess
same movie.
Like I feel like if you're on the scales of romantic comedy, a lot of these romantic comedies are kind of balancing the two. It feels like Princess Bride goes harder into the romance and the comedy is a lot more subtle. Because the main characters aren't really the ones perpetuating the comedy.
But like you can see this playing at a romantic picnic and a bunch of couples being like it's totally that kind of movie.
I'm not saying, oh, shame on you, Barnes, get this off of your number 1 list. I'm not saying that.
Eat me, Condor!
I'm just saying, like, for me personally, the reason it's not on my list is because I didn't really I looked up romantic comedies on Google and it did come up in the list. And I was like, huh.
How dare you? You let Google tell you what to do.
No, I let Google remind me of what romantic comedies are.
We have no hope as a society.
You can't sit there, Condor, and tell me that Inconceivable is not hilarious every time he says it.
Yeah, I'm not. That's what I'm saying, though.
What do you mean that main characters aren't involved in the comedy? That
guy's entire
not the funniest characters in that movie.
Vizini's entire character is just comedy.
You guys aren't listening to me.
No, we are not.
I'm
You're
saying
speaking insanity.
I'm saying that Wesley and Buttercup are not the main proprietors of the comedy. The other
they
romantic
have to
comedies
be?
that have been mentioned on these lists are people, the main actors, all carry a little bit of the comedy.
What about I don't think About Time does that. What?
Well, I mean, in terms of my number one, that is 100% true. So I do see the angle you're coming from. The comedy is the result of these two people meeting and starting a relationship. That's what the comedy of the story is.
Yeah. That's the angle I was viewing romantic comedy from. But from your perspective, I understand why Princess Bride is categorized as a romantic comedy.
We had the full range of the spectrum. We had Moonstruck over here at more romance than comedy. We had Sebastian wherever he falls on here, and we have me.
You're right. So then I guess
Yeah, we got a well-represented rogues gallery of rom-coms up in here.
Tell it to Prince Humperdinck.
So my honorable mention, I think would have to be, I have two. And one of them I haven't actually seen all the way through, but it just is in my mind all the time for some reason.
Wait, very quick. Why didn't you watch it all the way through?
Because it was Shallow Hal.
Oh.
What?
Okay, so
Excuse
that
me,
movie
what?
is the follow-up. That movie's the follow-up to There's Something About Mary.
It is. That's right.
Is it?
Yeah, because
That's
of the
right.
trial.
Yeah,
The trial
yeah.
is the thing that's keeping it
Yeah.
together.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see Something About Mary, so
Well, if
What?
you liked Shallow Hal, which it doesn't sound like you did,
But it's in it. Don't worry, it's in his honorable mention.
I think that
That's
movie is a meme. That movie
What,
is a
Shallow
meme.
Hal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is quite
It's
memey.
It's
Yeah.
not even Cameron Diaz. It's Gwyneth Paltrow, right?
Yeah, who was
Yeah.
that year she was the sexiest woman alive.
Yeah, because Goop hadn't come out yet.
And now she's goopy.
Anyway, my other honorable mention is High Fidelity with John Cusack.
That's a good movie, and I
Yeah,
love
that-
John Cusack.
Yeah. So my honorable mentions go on either end of the spectrum as well.
2012, one of the best movies ever.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
False.
I'll
dude,
say
that
four-
way.
I'll say
Looking at that
I'll say
flood.
1408. 1408 is pretty good.
Okay, I love that movie, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just thinking of John Cusack
no shade.
movies right
I love
now.
that movie.
But yeah, High Fidelity, good rom-com. The only reason it didn't take my number one spot is because I find it to be incredibly depressing, just like New York.
Shots fired.
But my number one on this list is Clueless with Alicia Silverstone.
I mean, yeah, that's iconic. Iconic.
Okay. I mean,
That's
there's a
the
lot of
only-
iconic stuff
that-
in there.
That's the only 90s rom-com I have on my list, and it took the number one spot.
But I will say, a film like Clueless, you can't really argue against because it is so
It is-
iconic.
it
It
is-
is so iconic. And B, it is like one of the mecca of rom-coms.
It is
Clueless.
romantic comedy.
it is
Like-
there is like everybody can enjoy Clueless.
Yeah, like no one will ever argue with you that that's not a deserving of a number one spot because it absolutely can be.
Well, right, but
Yeah,
I
maybe-
would say a
maybe number
similar
two.
thing about Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
surprised that
agree.
there
I
are
agree.
arguments about-
That's why I was telling you that I was shocked that up until Justin, I hadn't heard Princess Bride on anyone's list yet. That's why I mentioned it. I was like, I was
He
waiting
said-
for it. I was like,
He said,
When's it
knowing
coming?
full well he could have put Princess Bride on his list.
it's not one of my favorite movies, but
I mean, see, that's the
when
thing.
I've
It's not
seen
one of my
it,
favorites either.
when I watch it, I understand why it's up there for a lot of people. I do understand.
When I was 5 and I saw it for the first time, it was one of the first movies that actually made me feel romantic. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Oh
I
yeah.
What's
feel
going on?
this."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like even as that young, it like still registered. I guess the feelings are just really easy in that movie. The feelings come. They're there. It's a deeply felt movie.
It is. I agree
Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
No,
By
it's
the
a
way,
great- it's-
honorable
it's great.
mention for me that I
And
wanna
and it
is
just
this
it has
movie.
the best sword fight, one of the best sword fights of all time.
To wrap up this, we all tasked each other to find our greatest fan fiction
Jeez.
kind of relationship. I'm a little worried.
I didn't actually do that. I misunderstood the assignment, and I
Well,
just wrote.
I
wrote a short essay on why Zutara is wrong.
No. What? All right.
Oh, I can't wait for this. This man, you are
and
you
by
are
extension, Raylo is
absolutely
wrong.
you are the only one that thinks that. I hope you know that. You are the
Alright.
only one in the fandom that thinks that Aang and Katara should have ended up together. Like, no one liked that. No one wanted that. No one A liked that. No one B wanted that. It's not an interesting relationship at all because Aang, let's be honest, Aang is not an interesting character.
You are broken inside.
The only thing that makes Aang interesting is that he's the hero. But you're not going to agree with this, Reeves, because you like Luke Skywalker as your favorite character. The most boring Jedi out of all of them. You like the archetype type hero that is just the hero beyond heroes, and there's nothing going on with him. There's nothing wrong with him. And that
Just
is
say
exactly
that there's
who Aang
nothing
is.
wrong
Everything
with
you're
Aang
saying
is
just makes
very
me think you've never
misinformed.
watched The Last Airbender.
You're a very misinformed person.
Aang has to be the sense of morality in the show.
The
And-
problem
and
is he
that can
doesn't
be
want to
boring.
be.
That's only at the beginning. That's only at the beginning. He changes that. He changes that mindset when he meets with Roku. That changes. He's not like that the entire show.
still
He is
Then
not like
it
that the
morphs
entire
into
show.
fear when he gets fucking killed.
He is not like that the
It
entire
morphs
show.
into fear.
His confidence.
He's
Please.
still the reluctant hero. It is not until the crossroads of destiny
No.
when he takes
Zuko
Guru
is
Patik's-
way more of a reluctant hero than he is. Way
No,
more.
Zuko
Yes.
is
I
the
think-
Yes.
anti-hero.
That we should
Yeah,
listen.
Zuko's an anti-hero. He's
to
not a
what
hero
Reeves'
in any
argument
sense. He uses
All right.
he only acts in self-interest until the very last season.
You know
All right,
what?
but before I do want to know, so are we all pro Zutara except for Condor? Is that what this is?
No, I hate fucking Zutara.
I love Zutara.
And I
That's-
am
that-
a little,
Before-
I'm a little back and forth. I know at the time, especially when that episode Crossroads of Destiny came out, I was down. I wanted it to happen.
Me
so
too.
yeah, Reeves, what's your? Please
No,
share your.
you know what?
Wait,
Actually,
hold on.
I would like, before I debunk Zutara, I want to hear why Sebastian thinks that it works so well, that it would have serviced the story way better than Katang.
Hold up.
Before I even
let
say
the
that-
argument
okay.
be the thing we wrap with. Yeah.
All right, sure. Everybody else, yeah, do your thing,
Before I even okay, fine. Okay.
All right, Bill, what do you have? Because I'm fairly simple here.
Mario and Princess Peach. No, I'm just kidding. My big ship has always been, Do you got one? I don't have one yet.
All right, so I'm gonna just go.
Jesus Christ.
Holy shit! Good lord. Okay, so I have three kind of fandom relationships I would have loved to have seen come to fruition, and here they are in no particular order. I have Hawkeye and Black Widow. Very simple. See? See how that is?
What?
That's a
Would have loved to see it. I thought it would have been like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type of deal.
It would have been
great.
way
Would've been
better than
great.
just best friends. No,
Hey,
it wouldn't
you
have.
shut up.
No.
All right, this is my list.
Shut up,
It
Zutara.
would have it would have taken the moment away from when they both try to sacrifice for each other in Endgame. It would have lessened that moment.
I think it
100%.
would have only heightened it, but okay.
No.
My second one being Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth Shaw, or Elizabeth
Swan?
Swan. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that one. I
Yeah,
like
of
that
course
one.
you do, you Zutara Raylo Stan.
You don't like that one? I think it's great.
All right. Katara and Elizabeth are different. Very different. You
They
can
are different.
see the darkness in
Okay,
Elizabeth
so-
wanting to be a pirate. Katara
so-
only wants to help people.
The only reason I don't particularly like that ship is because the first movie wrapped it up.
You mean the second movie?
The first movie wrapped
No.
it up.
Not
first
really
movie-
though,
and that's
because
No, the
and
second
I'd
the
say-
second movie.
the second movie.
No, the second movie complicated things. The
And
second,
then even-
then it's
even
not
in-
wrapped up.
And even in the third movie, they had playful banter where he's just like, "It would have never worked out between us, love." You know, like, there's still a little bit of the.
There's
of the
still a little bit of
spark
tension
going.
there.
he says that in the first movie. In the third act of the first movie, he says, Elizabeth, the last thing he says to her, it would have never worked between us, darling.
Will.
I'm sorry.
Nice hat.
Will, nice hat. And then he jumps off the fucking cliff. And
All
then
right,
in
all
the
right,
third movie, she says to him, Jack, it would have never worked with
That's
between us.
what I was
and then
thinking.
he
That's what I
says,
was
keep
thinking.
telling yourself that, love. And then she goes to kiss him again. And he's like, once was quite enough.
Yeah,
Because
so
he didn't
so
wanna
it's
get
not
fucking
wrapped in
murdered
the first
again.
film. So it's not wrapped in the first film then.
Yes, it is, because the first film is the perfect standalone Pirates film. Anyway, move on.
Okay, one
That
more.
has nothing
Jesus.
to do with that relationship.
All right, my last one is Brienne of Tarth and Tormund Giantsbane.
Yeah, that's a good one.
honestly,
Who's that
honestly,
second guy?
it's
The red-haired guy, the wildling guy.
Tormund. Big
That's a
bearded,
big
big bearded
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh,
but
that's
I
so
really,
funny.
I really would have loved to see her more with Jamie, though. I wanted her and
fuck
Jamie to
off.
end up
It's
together.
too bad they had to write it piss poor and stupid. They
Did you want that too? Because I wanted that.
Yeah, I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted Jamie to be an actually good character instead of
Yeah.
return to his abuser. But instead, they decided to shit into their own hand and smear
Well,
it on
no,
the page
because
and
if
hand
you
it to
think
the
about it,
actor.
if you think about it throughout the whole show, the only thing that he really consistently only loved was Cersei. So it was only right for him to go back to the first
And
thing
his
that he had
children.
ever loved. No, he didn't even love the children as much.
He loved Marcella.
No, but he loved Cersei more. He loved Cersei more. He didn't take their death anywhere near as hard as she did, as Cersei did.
It comes back around to the there's a
Out of the
saying
two
where
of them, Cersei loved the sons and daughters way more than he did.
there-
I would
there's
say
a,
they
there's a saying where
chose to
a
show
mother
their
will
affection
love her
differently.
children. A mother will love her children more than her husband, but a husband will love his wife more than his children.
I'm just saying that you might be overreaching a little bit with the bad writing. I think it's not terrible to say that he went and ended up with the first thing and the only thing that he
I
really
just think
loved.
it's reductive. I think it's reductive writing.
Okay, Bill,
Anyway.
what do you got?
So my major one is a character that technically doesn't exist, but does kind of exist. Where when they were making characters for Mario Tennis, they
Jesus
were
Christ.
creating some new ones. and
dear
one
God.
of them
Dear God.
was Waluigi.
I can't. I'm already. I'm
And-
sorry. I'm. What's that term that you use at the end of text? Shaking my head. That's what I'm doing right
You're
now.
SMing your age
I'm
right
S.
now?
Yeah, I'm S. Yeah, I'm SMH right now. Look at Reeves. He's buried in his mic right now. Look what you did to him.
it's
There was a character who was conceived and drawn for this game, but not actually implemented because she was not approved by Nintendo. But her name was Waru Peachy, and Waru Peachy and Waluigi would be the perfect couple. And this
Stop
character's design recently leaked. And guys, when it leaked, all of
Is
the
it like a
fan art.
Gimli?
No, she doesn't look like Gimli. She looks like Peach, but like, you know how Bowsette was like the goth GF version of Peach?
Yes.
This is like the Waluigi version of Peach, like to the T. She's wearing
Wait,
these
why
really
wasn't
weird
this?
hair
Why wasn't
things.
this? Do you know why this character wasn't approved?
Because they don't want Peach being made fun of like that, maybe?
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if you had like an inkling.
Oh
of
no,
why it was
they
never
didn't give
approved.
the official reason. They just never approved the
okay.
design.
I see.
But yeah, Waru Peachy, man. Look up fan art if you haven't. She's adorable. And her and Waluigi.
I'm afraid of what I might
perfect
find.
pair.
Yeah, I'm afraid of what I might find too. To be honest.
wanna
Much
kick
less
over that
scary than Bowsette. If you search Bowsette, that's a minefield. If you search Waru Peachy, just Zenny nonsense, usually.
It hasn't reached the cultural zeitgeist yet.
Are
All
we
right,
ready for
so,
Reeves' argument?
Well, Reeves knows what my ship here is gonna be, so take it away, Reeves.
You are a broken
All
man.
right. So, Zutara, and by extension Raylo, is wrong.
I
essay
actually
by
think Raylo's wrong.
Okay,
Just
thank
saying.
you, thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I do.
Zu-
I think
Zutara-
everyone thinks Raylo's wrong.
I should hope so. And
But it's
a
so
short
right.
a short essay by the Omega Condor.
Oh god.
So, Zuko, regardless of his redemption, does not make a good first impression with 90% of the cast in Avatar The Last Airbender. The first time the gang meets him, he is attacking the Southern Water Tribe. He grabs Gran Kana, by the collar and is like, "Show me all your elderly people," and then throws her to the ground. Literally is on the brink of burning down a village made of ice and snow. And if your only argument for Zutara is there one positive interaction from the Crossroads of Destiny, then I'm sorry, but your argument is not very strong. The Crossroads of Destiny is one positive interaction amongst, up to that point, a sea of negative interactions where Zuko is the aggressor.
The chemistry... Listen, to interject with that, the chemistry that Katara and Zuko show is way better than any chemistry that Aang and Katara ever
but
have.
That chemistry is not romantic.
Yes, it is.
Because
it's Stockholm Syndrome.
Katara and Aang have a build-up over the entire series of establishing their relationship. Anyway,
and also...
moving forward... That was their only positive interaction for the entire series up to that point. Because Katara is a very empathetic person, and both of them lost their mothers. So that positive interaction was immediately sandwiched with a negative interaction because Zuko decided to betray everyone for a self-serving goal. Up until that point, Katara was not the only member of the gang who was willing to leave Zuko for dead at the North Pole to freeze to death and die. Up until that point, and then upon Zuko betraying her fresh, recently blossoming trust that he could be good in him, she not only doesn't care if he dies, she would happily be the one to end his life.
Yeah, but that is not where the story goes, and you know it. You're just pinpointing specific moments in the story.
Now, moving on, here's the next paragraph. By the time Zuko makes his turnaround, Katara has already condemned him and wants to, and I can't put enough emphasis on this, murder him. Literally.
That's why they battle together in the Agni Kai. They're literally like,
so
what are you... What?
That is for survival.
Can I please go through the progression of chronological... Just because I have the end of the story does not mean I'm not talking about the middle of the story. The journey is what counts, not the ending. So, they become good friends, yes, and they do learn from each other. Even Zuko learns from Katara while they're enemies. Sure, that is fine, and that is fine. That is fine to say. That much is true of their relationship, that they do have good chemistry, and they are good friends. Katara takes steps to forgive Zuko post the Southern Raiders, because up until the Southern Raiders, yet again, she is at his throat with the fucking dagger. Regardless of what Aang's opinion is on who his firebending teacher should be, she is at his throat. Not romantically. There's no romantic tension. That is all violent.
There is zero passion between Aang and Katara, and there's a lot of passion.
Incorrect.
There's a lot of passion. There's way more passion between Katara and Zuko than there is with Aang and Katara.
I'm going to continue.
I'm just saying.
Any attempt to place this fragile friendship under a veil of romance is ignorant and a blatant misreading of the material.
You can tell he wrote it.
And if your argument boils down to the creators confirmed they wanted to do it, that's also not a good reason, because they didn't go through with it because they knew how dumb it would be and how
they didn't go through with it because they can't take anything away from the main character. That's why they didn't go through with it.
No,
please.
That's not what... I think, as writers, they understood how stupid it would be narratively to pair Zuko and Katara together. Because guess what? We got an equivalent. We got a Zuko-Katara facsimile in Korra and Mako in The Legend of Korra. And because those characters are, in the first season, essentially watered-down versions of... very watered-down versions of Zuko and Katara, that relationship, I believe, is how it would have played out in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You also have to think about, let's step into Katara's shoes. What's her type? Jet. Come on. Jet. Zuko. She clearly Jet is the only other character that she displays feelings for on the show. That's not Zuko or
Aang.
Aang.
Is in season 1, that is before character growth.
Also,
I understand, but Katara clearly has a type, and Aang never fits those stereotypes. It's like would you?
If she had never met Jet,
and
maybe her
and this is subjective. This is subjective.
It would
I
be
guess.
her type.
It's like, yes, Aang would be a good partner, but you're gonna be bored all your life.
That's incorrect.
Oh my
he's
God.
the Avatar, and he's
He's
you're
the
gonna,
boring
because
hero.
He's the last
He's
Airbender.
the
they're
boring
going to be
hero.
fucking the rest of their lives. He's gonna keep her excited.
Please.
Anyway, so also think of it this way:
He's a monk.
you watched the Crossroads of Destiny, and you saw the Zuko Katara scene. What about the scene where Aang gets shot, and Katara is heartbroken that she sees Aang falling?
Yeah,
from
but
grace.
it's not
She
with
catches
romantic
him.
passion. It's not.
And then they're riding on Appa. Earth King Kwei has said the Earth Kingdom has fallen, and Katara heals Aang. And when he opens his eyes, the first thing he sees is the same thing he saw when he woke up out of the ice, and she sees the same.
I get
kid.
it, but
And
it's
that
forced.
embrace-
It feels forced.
That's not. Oh
It
my
does
God!
not
no, it's
feel.
not.
It
That
does
is-
not
that is
feel
called-
like two
that is
people that
called
are
narrative.
romantically intertwined. It does not feel like it's two.
That is
It
called
feels like
fate.
it feels like a big sister. It feels like a big sister, like trying to save her little brother. I'm sorry. That is what that feels like. That is what their relationship feels like. He's way too immature for her.
Also-
way too immature for her. Yes.
That's
He's a-
because. Oh my God! Well, Katara was forced to grow up fast. First of all, she was what, like 7 years old when her mom.
Yeah,
died?
she was like the only person that took care of that tribe, really.
Yeah,
of her tribe.
Aang also had to grow up fast. When they met, of course, he wasn't grown up yet because he was still running from his responsibilities as the Avatar. But they have that in common, that they are being thrust into these situations during wartime, where they are forced to grow up faster than they wanted to. When they first meet, he says, "Will you go penguin sledding with me?" And she's like, "Sure." And she's like, "Wow, I forgot how much fun penguin sledding was. I haven't done this since I was a kid." And Aang says, very poignantly, "You are still a kid." She is still no matter how she may act more mature, but she's still a kid.
Yeah, I know. Aang being the one to tell her that, please. If he's like the least credible person to tell her that
He's
out of everyone.
10-year-old man, Seabass.
No, but he's not though, because he stops aging. So does that number really doesn't count?
Aging.
That number really doesn't count because he comes
If a
out of
tree
that
falls
ice
in the
the
forest,
same age.
no one's around to see it age.
Yeah. He has zero maturity to be in a relationship with someone, and never displays throughout the entire show.
What maturity does Zuko have?
When
Zuko,
is he
are
in a
you
relationship
joking?
with her, Seabass?
Zuko is
after
way
going
more-
through with his whole journey.
He's only had horrible relationships with the people he's loved.
Zuko is far more grown up than Aang is.
No,
He's
he's
far
just
more
been
broken.
No, he's just way more traumatized. And you cannot tell me that trauma can be subbed in for character growth and development.
It's not subbed in. Well, it's not subbed in because it's because of his trauma that he has a more interesting character arc than Aang anyways. Because he actually turns a full 180 degrees from when we first see him. Aang is always the same hero throughout the entire show. The only thing that differences with Aang is that he decides to finally want to be the Avatar. That is not enough character growth. That is not anywhere near as much character growth as
are
what
gonna get-
as what
you're gonna get
Zuko
flamed in
as
the
what
comments for
Zuko
this.
goes through. It is not. I just think that Zuko goes through a harder character arc than he does. Aang has his destiny pre-written for him. Zuko
That's
does not.
hard.
Zuko chooses to become a better person.
but that
Aang
means
is forced. Aang is
has
forced to become
Aang
a
has
better
to-
person.
Aang has to come to terms with the fact that he doesn't have a choice for who he needs to be.
Exactly. Zuko.
That does not
it's,
mean he's less interesting.
No, I don't think he's less interesting, but I think it's easier for him to go through that character growth than it is for Zuko to go through that character growth because
See, now that this is boiling down to speculation of your own subjective opinion of the show.
I think it's what we're talking about anyways subjective because there are people that love Zutara and there's people that love Katang. This has been an argument since the show ended. Literally, this has been an ongoing argument.
I suppose so, but all we really have to go on is the objective fact that the Katang gang won.
It's Ank'Tara.
It's like, and
It's
if you're
not
saying
Katang.
that the
Ank'Tara
creators,
sounds
if you're,
much better.
it is Katang. It's officially called Katang.
It's Ank'Tara.
No.
I'm not calling
Anyway,
someone.
well,
an
But if you're
can
going to
agree on
use
one
the
point,
argument
Seabass.
that the creators ended up going with Katang because they thought it would benefit the story, then what's your argument with Raylo? Because that's what they did. JJ came in and thought, oh, this would benefit the story. Let's just add.
And he was wrong. J.J.
Exactly.
Abrams was wrong.
The creators were also wrong for Katang, in my opinion. In my opinion.
Because you can't equate Katang to
In
Raylo,
my opinion,
because
if I'm
Raylo
being really
is
honest,
closer to Zutara than it is to Katang.
if I'm being really honest, I don't think Aang should have ever had a love interest to begin with. If I'm being really honest, I don't think the Avatar should have a love interest. But that's just a different argument.
That is a different conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just saying.
that's my TED Talk. Zutara, you're wrong. Sorry.
I think we're just not gonna ever agree to this point.
We're never gonna. Come
There's a certain schism.
That's why it's been a debate since the end of the show.
Yes.
It's never
We'll
gonna
never get
solved.
filled here,
Yeah.
but that's all the time I think we have for.
Leave it to the
today for
fanfic
discussing
writers.
Yeah. Leave it to the
Where
fanfic.
do you
Exactly.
stand
Exactly.
on Zutara? Let us know.
Or Katang.
this. Angtara.
Are you a settler of Katang or are you a Zutaro player?
Oh, Zarutha? Zerutha? What's that
Zathura,
game
yeah.
called?
Zathura?
Zathura.
Zathura.
The sci-fi Jumanji with Josh.
You had every opportunity
Space
to make a
Monster.
Hamtaro reference and you didn't.
Hamtaro.
You're gonna have to live with that disappointment for the rest of
I'd
your
rather do a Zutharo.
Wow, I am
reference.
suffering some serious ham heartbreak right now by
Oh my god,
missing
please,
my opportunity.
please end my suffering.
I will say though, real quick, Zathura, goated film.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
John Favreau, baby.
We're devolving.
All
Alright,
right,
well,
devolving
that's
into
it for
loud
today,
sounds.
guys.
I've been the Omega Condor. That's Seabass. That's Bilf. That's Barney. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who your favorite ship is from any media, and maybe let us know what your rom-com top 5 favorites are, as well as please hit that bell because Bilf, you have a new show on the channel.
That's right. And you don't want to
introduce it.
miss
Introduce
when
it really
comes
quick.
up.
Introduce it really quick.
All right, guys, it's time to plug. I have a new show on the channel. It's called Land World, and it's all about portable gaming and personal histories related to portable gaming. It's a one-on-one, cozy interview type show. It's 45 minutes to an hour, except for the first episode. And the first episode's going to be hitting this week. So please, push that button. Get notified.
It'll be up before this video is, but yeah.
And it will be up before this
Go
video.
check it out.
So
if you
you
love
should be able to go
love
check it out.
portable gaming, go check it out. I
Yeah, please check out the first episode. The guest is someone that might be familiar to you. It's our very own Omega Condor.
You ruined
So-
the surprise.
Be sure to hit that notification bell so you know exactly when the episode drops. And with that, you can follow my personal channel at the Omega Condor on YouTube.com. You can follow Seabass on Twitch at Seabass_118. You can follow Bilf at Payless Pistachio on Twitter. And JT Barney is right here. So if you want to keep up with JT Barney, again, I can't stress this enough, hit the notification bell. We want
really
you
bad
to
at
watch our videos. Good night, everyone.
Wait,
Good
guys,
night.
it's time to sign off. Let's do what we agreed. Are we
Oh
ready?
my goodness.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Done.
That was beautiful.